Welcome to the new video of NeuroPhilos. Get ready to dive into a gripping tale that will leave you breathless, thinking, and inspired. Whether you're here for the mystery, the drama, or the unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Let's begin. The 90-second truth about emotions. Most of us grow up believing that emotions are powerful storms that sweep over us and stay as long as they want. We say things like, "I've been angry all day," or "that fear won't leave me." But neuroscience tells a surprisingly different story. No natural emotional reaction lasts longer than about 90 seconds, unless we keep feeding it. Here's what actually happens. When something triggers an emotion, a comment, a memory, a stressful event, your brain sends a signal to your body. Hormones and neurotransmitters flood your system. Your heart rate shifts, your breathing changes, your muscles tense, your stomach tightens. This is the physical part of the emotion, and biology is incredibly efficient. Those chemicals rise, peak, and clear in roughly a minute and a half. After that window, the physiological storm is already dissolving. So why does anger feel like it lasts for hours? Why can sadness linger for days? Because the emotion itself isn't what's staying. The story is. Your mind steps in and begins replaying the event. How could they say that to me? This always happens to me. I'm such a failure. Each replay re-triggers the chemical surge, starting the 90-second clock again. We think the emotion is controlling us, but in reality, our thoughts are refueling it. This isn't motivational fluff. It's neuroscience. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, a Harvard-trained brain scientist who studied her own brain during a stroke, helped popularize this insight. She noticed the emotional chemical cycle ran its course naturally, unless she mentally re-engaged with the trigger. That means emotional storms are not endless forces, they're waves. They rise, crest, and break. The problem is that most of us never learn what to do during those 90 seconds. We react, we snap, we send that message. We say the thing we later regret. And by the time the emotional intensity has already faded, the consequences remain. So what should we do instead? When you feel anger, fear, embarrassment, or shame rising, become a witness instead of a participant. Notice the sensations like a curious observer. There's heat in my chest. My breathing feels tight. My hands are clenching. Then breathe slowly and count to 90. Not to suppress the feeling, but to let it complete its natural cycle. Imagine the emotion as a wave passing through your body, not something you have to fight or obey. You'll actually feel the intensity beginning to soften. Your body was designed to process emotions. It just needs time without mental interference. This knowledge changes everything. You realize you're not an angry person. You're simply a human experiencing 90-second waves, and sometimes replaying them unintentionally. You're also not at the mercy of emotional storms. You're learning how weather works. Think about times you've snapped at someone and regretted it moments later. By the time you said the words, the original emotional surge was already fading, but the story you created amplified it. Understanding this creates space, a tiny gap between feeling and reaction, and inside that gap lives emotional maturity. Emotions are essential. They inform us, protect us, warn us, connect us, but they were never meant to drive the car. Their job is to signal, not to steer. Once you see emotions as temporary biological waves rather than permanent storms, your relationship to them shifts. You stop fighting them, you stop fearing them, and you stop letting them dictate your choices. The rule is simple but powerful. Feel fully, react slowly. Let the body finish its 90-second work, then let your wiser self decide what comes next. That's the first foundation of emotional regulation, and most people never learn it. Reframing, changing the story without changing reality. We often assume our emotions come from events themselves. The missed opportunity, the harsh comment, the failed attempt. But the truth is subtler and far more empowering. Our emotions mostly come from the meaning we attach to those events. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different things. The difference isn't the world, it's the frame, the hidden gap that creates disappointment. Disappointment rarely comes from what actually happened. It comes from the space between what we expected and what occurred. We expected appreciation, but got criticism. We expected progress, but hit a setback. We expected certainty, but faced uncertainty instead. That gap produces frustration, sadness, resentment, or anger. Cognitive reframing doesn't erase reality or sugarcoat it. Instead, it asks a powerful question. Is there another accurate way to look at this? Notice the word accurate. This is not pretending. This is correcting distortions. Your brain loves dramatic storytelling. The human brain evolved to predict danger. Because of that, it tends to exaggerate negatives, jump to worst-case scenarios, tell catastrophic stories quickly. Something as small as criticism in a meeting can trigger a whole narrative. Everyone thinks I'm incompetent. My career is ruined. Meanwhile, most people in that room have already moved on to thinking about lunch. Our brains act like overdramatic movie directors, adding suspenseful music where none is needed. Reframing turns off the soundtrack and lets us see the scene clearly. A simple example. Imagine you didn't get a promotion. Catastrophic frame. I'm a failure. I'll never move forward. This frame freezes you. It closes possibility, reframed perspective. This is one setback. What feedback can I use to get stronger for next time? Nothing about reality changed, but the meaning did. One interpretation shuts you down, the other activates growth. Reframing transforms disappointment from a verdict into information. Reframing isn't lying, it's accuracy. A lot of people resist reframing because they think it means pretending everything is fine. But reframing actually does the opposite. It acknowledges difficulty, removes unnecessary catastrophizing, shifts you from helplessness to agency. It says, this is hard, and I still have options. That blend of honesty and power is exactly what emotional resilience is built on. Using reframing in real life. Here are questions that help create new frames. What else could this mean? What might I learn here that I couldn't have learned otherwise? If I looked at this from 5 years in the future, how might I see it? What part of this is actually within my control? These questions don't erase pain. They simply open doors where your mind had painted walls. Think of moments in your past that felt devastating, but later revealed hidden benefits: growth, clarity, change of direction, new opportunities. Reframing lets you borrow that future wisdom right now, instead of waiting months or years. Reframing and emotional regulation. When we reframe, we give the 90-second emotional wave a different story to land in. Instead of feeding fear or anger with catastrophic thinking, we give the brain a more grounded narrative. And grounded narratives create grounded actions. Because the truth is, the frame you put around a problem determines whether your brain treats it as a threat or a challenge. Threats trigger panic. Challenges activate problem solving. The quiet power of perspective. Life will continue to bring uncertainty, setbacks, misunderstandings, and surprises. Reframing doesn't remove difficulty, it changes your posture toward it. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "How can I work with what's here?" That shift sounds small, but it changes everything. It's the difference between drowning in the story your brain creates and calmly steering your mind back to reality. Reframing doesn't make life perfect. It simply keeps you capable inside imperfect moments. And capability is where resilience begins. Breaking rumination cycles. Have you ever tried to stop thinking about something, only to think about it more intensely? A conversation that went wrong, a mistake you made, something embarrassing you said years ago. The mind grabs it like a dog with a bone and refuses to let go. That loop has a name: rumination. Rumination isn't reflection, and it isn't problem solving. Reflection leads to understanding. Problem solving leads to action. Rumination, however, goes in circles. It replays the same scene again and again, adding emotional commentary each time. Why did I say that? What's wrong with me? This always happens. Instead of resolving anything, rumination deepens the emotional groove, making the thought stronger, not weaker. Why trying to stop thinking backfires? When we notice ourselves spiraling, most of us try to push the thought away. Unfortunately, the brain doesn't respond well to commands like, don't think about it. It treats the very instruction as attention. Tell yourself, don't think about a pink elephant, and your brain instantly creates one. This happens because attention fuels neural activity. The more we fight thoughts, the more energy we give them. So the goal is not to suppress rumination, it is to redirect the mind. Rumination versus useful thinking. A helpful way to tell the difference. Rumination asks, why am I like this? Problem solving asks, what small step can I take? Rumination keeps you stuck in self-judgment, while healthy thinking moves you gently toward action or acceptance. A practical reset. The 5-3-1 technique. When your thoughts begin looping, interrupt the pattern with structure. One reliable tool is the 5-3-1 reset. 1. Name 5 things you can see. Look around and say them out loud if possible. Window, pen, plant, notebook, lamp. This activates your visual cortex and brings you back into the present moment. 2. Change your environment. Stand up. Walk to another room. Step outside if you can. Physical movement tells the brain the situation has changed, which weakens the emotional script. 3. Spend 3 minutes on a demanding task. Do something that requires focus. Counting backward by sevens, solving a puzzle, washing dishes mindfully, organizing a small space. The key is mild mental engagement, not distraction. 4. Take one meaningful action. Send one email, write one sentence, set one appointment, or take one step toward the issue, or towards something completely different if action isn't possible. Momentum breaks mental stagnation. What makes this method powerful is that it doesn't argue with your thoughts. It reclaims attention and gently leads it somewhere more productive. Rumination is the brain searching for safety. Rumination often appears when something feels unresolved. The brain keeps replaying it to prepare, protect, or correct, even when no solution exists in that moment. Knowing this helps us respond with compassion rather than frustration. Instead of saying, ugh, why am I like this? Try saying, my brain is trying to protect me, but it needs a new job right now. That small shift replaces self-attack with self-leadership. Nighttime rumination. Many people experience rumination most intensely at night. In the quiet, without distractions, the mind digs up old files to review. But here's the truth. The brain at 3 a.m. is not looking for wisdom. It's looking for certainty, and certainty rarely exists. The best response at night isn't to solve life's problems. It is to soothe the nervous system. Breathing exercises, grounding techniques, or simply writing thoughts in a notebook for tomorrow can calm the mental storm. Giving your mind somewhere better to flow. Water stagnates when it has no outlet. The mind does the same. That's why activity, creativity, conversation, and physical movement are such effective antidotes to rumination. They give thought a healthier channel. Remember, your goal isn't to silence the mind, it's to guide it. You don't defeat rumination by force. You outgrow it by repeatedly practicing redirection. Over time, the brain learns, we don't stay stuck here anymore. And gradually, loops that once lasted hours begin to dissolve in minutes. The spotlight effect. You're not being watched nearly as much as you think. There is a quiet mental illusion that shapes far more of our behavior than we realize. It convinces us that people are paying very close attention to our mistakes, flaws, and awkward moments. It makes us rehearse conversations, worry about appearances, and overthink even small social interactions. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is our tendency to overestimate how much other people notice and judge us. We feel as if there's a bright stage light shining on everything we do, while everyone else sits in the audience evaluating our performance. But in reality, most people are not watching us. They're busy thinking about themselves. Why the brain does this from an evolutionary perspective? Belonging mattered for survival. Being rejected by the group could be dangerous, so the brain became hyper-aware of anything that might threaten social acceptance. The modern result is an inner narrator that whispers, they all noticed. Everyone saw your mistake. People are judging you. Yet research consistently shows something different. In classic experiments at Cornell University, students were asked to wear embarrassing t-shirts to class. They felt painfully self-conscious and assumed many classmates noticed. But when researchers surveyed the other students, only a small fraction had even paid attention. The spotlight existed mainly in the wearer's minds. Why mistakes feel huge to us and tiny to others. Think about the last time you stumbled over your words, spilled a drink, or made a small error in public. To you, it may have felt enormous. Maybe you replayed it later, cringing at the memory. Now flip the question. How many similar mistakes made by other people do you remember? Probably very few. That isn't because you're kinder to others. It's because you weren't focused on them. You were busy thinking about your own behavior, your own worries, your own insecurities. Everyone else is doing the same thing. Recognizing this creates emotional freedom. When you realize most people are not constantly evaluating you, the pressure to perform softens. You begin to move more naturally, speak more honestly, and take more healthy risks, because the imaginary jury in your head loses its power. The inner critic versus reality. Most of the judgment we fear doesn't come from other people. It comes from inside, from the internal critic shaped by past experiences, cultural expectations, and self-doubt. That voice says, "You looked foolish." They think you're incompetent. You should be embarrassed. But the reality is usually far less dramatic. Other people are dealing with their own lives, their own stress, and their own internal spotlights. They simply don't have the mental space to analyze our every move. Understanding the spotlight effect helps us respond differently. Instead of spiraling, we can pause and ask, if someone else did this, would I think about it for more than 10 seconds? Most of the time, the answer is no. Living lighter without the imaginary audience? Recognizing the spotlight effect doesn't mean ignoring social responsibility or feedback. It simply returns perspective. It reminds us that human beings are far more forgiving and far more distracted than our anxious mind suggests. When we stop assuming everyone is watching, we give ourselves permission to make mistakes without self-destruction, learn in public, express genuine opinions, start things before we feel perfectly ready. Life becomes more spacious and less performative. The truth is simple. You are the center of your own universe, and so is everyone else. Their spotlight is on themselves, just as yours has been on you. When you really absorb that, social fear loosens. You don't disappear. You simply gain the freedom to show up more authentically, knowing that most people are too busy living their own story to obsess over yours. Third-person self-talk. Becoming your own wise guide. There is a simple psychological tool that can change the way you handle stress, decisions, and anxiety. And it begins with something as small as how you speak to yourself in your own mind. Most of us use first-person self-talk. I can't handle this. I'm going to mess this up. Why do I always do this? When thoughts sound personal and absolute, they fuse us to the emotion. The feeling becomes our identity. But research suggests there's another way. A subtle shift that creates distance and clarity. It's called third-person self-talk. Instead of saying, "I'm overwhelmed," you say, "Maria is overwhelmed, but she's handled challenges before. John can figure this out. You've gotten through tougher things than this." By speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to a friend, your brain switches from emotional reaction mode to guidance mode. Why this works? Studies from Michigan State University and other research centers show that referring to yourself by name, or as you, creates psychological distance. It allows the prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of the brain, to step forward while the limbic system, your emotional alarm center, calms down. In essence, you stop being inside the storm and start advising someone who is going through the storm. This is the same mental stance you naturally take when a friend asks for advice. You see their situation more clearly than they do because you're not consumed by their feelings. Third-person self-talk gives you that same advantage over your own emotions. How to use it in real moments. Imagine facing a difficult presentation. Instead of spiraling into, "I'm going to fail," you pause and say, "Sarah, you're nervous, and that's okay. Focus on delivering the first minute clearly. The rest will follow." Notice the difference in tone. It's calmer, steadier, and more encouraging. You've shifted from inner critic to inner coach. You can use third-person self-talk during anxiety, conflict, temptation, decision-making, self-doubt. Each time you're essentially reminding your brain that there is a capable, reasonable adult present. The power of compassionate language. Most of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to another human being. You're useless. You always mess things up. What's wrong with you? If a friend forgot their keys, we'd probably say, no big deal, happens to everyone. But when we make small mistakes, we launch internal attacks. Third-person self-talk interrupts that pattern. It invites a kinder tone automatically, because talking to you or using your own name naturally evokes empathy. Not denial, leadership. Some people worry this practice is artificial or delusional. In reality, it's more like responsible self-leadership. You're not pretending everything is fine. You're simply guiding yourself through the emotion instead of being swallowed by it. It sounds like, David is scared, but fear doesn't get to decide. You're disappointed, and you can still take the next step. Maria doesn't have all the answers yet, and that's okay. The emotion remains acknowledged, but it doesn't take control. Building the habit. Like any skill, third-person self-talk becomes easier with repetition. Try starting small. Use your name when you journal. Narrate stressful moments. Okay, Aisha's tired and needs rest. Catch harsh inner dialogue and rephrase it. Over time, your internal voice becomes steadier and more supportive. You gain the ability to advise yourself in the same wise way you'd comfort someone you care about. And when life gets complicated, that voice becomes one of your strongest tools. Because the words you speak inside your head are not just commentary, they are signals to your nervous system, shaping how your body responds and how your future unfolds. Learning to talk to yourself like someone worth caring for may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful emotional skills you can develop.